Hello, everybody. Welcome to Octa. It's Tuesday, and it's hot, very hot. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Sean D. Mike, long-term holder. Good to see you, buddy. TND Tesla K8. Let's get into this. It's called Longer Cycle. And sorry, this was delayed from yesterday, but there was a very urgent one yesterday about the impact of treasuries on assets. So that had to take priority. Anyway, we'll get into Longer Cycle. We'll talk about more treasuries, more craziness, actual flows around Bitcoin. A lot of people are confused. What's happening with Bitcoin? And is there any life left in it at all? Well, we'll talk about everything else that's happening in the crypto world and not financial advice, as always. And thank you. From Blue Jay, when retire on Pingu vid? Joke your videos. And I've got to move out of this. Hang on, I can't read the rest. Your videos and Patreon updates are the highlights of my day. Awesome. Thank you for saying that. Let's get into the ugly news first. We do have some unlocks. The unlock list, actually, as usual, includes some of the usual suspects, including Jupiter is there, nearly 2%, Optimism, nearly 2%, Sui, nearly 2%, DYDX, about 1%. Athena unlocks every week. Tokenomics are just like that. Aptos, Say, and Arbitrum all doing the same thing. Lots of continual unlocks. It's as if these crypto projects just discover, if we do 2% every week or so, nobody will notice, but we notice. Anyway, if you do have a 2% unlock every week, that's 100% dumpage. That's definitely not good. Now, let's get into the bad news. This is very sad. I'll turn off my camera for a second. The median age of homebuyers in the United States is now 56 years of age. And that crushes the so-called American dream about owning a home. And I know people are feeling pain in other parts of the world as well, like the Netherlands, like Sydney, Australia, super expensive markets. But this chart really says it all. And what used to be key for young families is now delayed by decades, okay? Young families used to be able to buy a house at the average age was 31 years of age. Now it's 56. That's a big difference. But don't give up, everybody. Use this as fuel for motivation. Build, save, invest, fight for your freedom, get some Bitcoin, and one day you'll be able to swap your Bitcoin for a house. Ta-da! So that's the little motivation kick of the day. Let's get into the good news. Crazy stuff happening. First of all, after everything we've been through in August, ups and downs, we've got 4 days left. I feel like CZ when I do the 4 thing. Oh, God, that's weird. But we're flat. We're flat so far, exactly flat today. So we've gone up and down and all around, and Bitcoin's at $112,300. Exactly the same price it was at the beginning of the month. What now everybody's talking about, and we'll talk about this as well, what's going to happen in Rektember. Everybody's afraid of Rektember. Well, August was supposed to be down. It wasn't. And a lot of people believe everything is moving. And I said this in the very beginning, the ETFs have brought the cycle forward a touch. Is there hope that Rektember won't be Rektember, but Uptember? We'll talk about that in a second as well. Fear and greed is 51, neutral, bang in the middle. And Bitcoin over the last 7 days has been flat against itself, of course. But you can see Solana having a good rebound, Polkadot as well, which is weird because nobody uses the chain. And CRO, the dark green as well, that popped. We'll get into the story as to why that happened as well. And crypto in fiat terms, again, Solana hit just 210 and up about 18% for the week. And everything else, more or less, pretty much flat. Tron down, Binance up a little bit. Again, everything's all over the place. The fund flows, however, were negative. There was a big amount of drainage out of ETF funds after seeing some crazy inflows into Ethereum funds. We saw 1.43 billion in outflows, and that's the biggest dump since March 2025. And volumes are big, up to 38 billion, but again, that's a big dipper. And when we look at the breakdown of what dipped most, well, Ethereum dropped $440 million. Bitcoin dropped $1 billion, but things like Solana, XRP were up. Sui down 13 million. Wonder what's happening to that one. Some people put $2.9 million into Cardano because they have brain damage, and that's just a fact of life. Cardano now has 24,000 daily active users. They used to have 250,000 daily active users in 2021. That's just saying things. Anyway, this is more important stuff. This is from River. And there's a couple of things that I really do like about this. One, it shows you the flows. You can see the net outflows. This is what's happened per day in 2025. Again, kudos to River for the great chart. Really good. But you can see here, 3,200 dumped per day on average from individuals. But what exactly does that mean? We know for a fact that there are long-term holders, people like Plan B, people like Willy Woo, and many others that have decided the risk of a wrench attack is too much. So they have publicly stated they moved all of their Bitcoin from cold storage into ETFs. So although it may seem like 3,200 Bitcoin a day is being sold by long-term holders, a lot of that I probably bet you is going directly into funds and ETFs. Maybe half, about 1,430 per this study. The other thing is, the other 1,400 is the treasury companies and then conventional businesses. I know plumbers in San Francisco that are stacking Bitcoin. Other groups, 411 a day, governments, 39 a day. And I do want to point your eyes to this one, 14 Bitcoin per day, lost Bitcoin, okay? Remember, even with the value of Bitcoin, people are still sending Bitcoin every single day to a dead address, or they're losing their keys, etc. And as I've said, for years, 5 million Bitcoin has been lost forever, and it continues to be lost every single day. Every single day. So if you have Bitcoin in cold storage, don't lose it. If you do, it's a gift to everybody else. And the Bitcoin mined is 450 per day, and in about 2.5 years, that will be 225 a day. 225 a day, yes. So it's going to be crazy hard at that rate. But that's just an important view of exactly where the Bitcoin is going. Now, thank you, Bluegrass. AltSeason. Technically at 53, we're more AltSeason-ish than Bitcoin season. And that is positive, and we definitely see that in some of the results. If you look where Bitcoin stands here in black, it's way down the range. And in the big chart here, you can see on the very top is Crypto.com, CRO, utility token, up 92% for the last 30 days. That means the announcement of a buy, which I'll get to in a second, was front run. Everybody remember, everything is always front run. You as a retail investor often will be the last to know. And other things that had a good week, Chainlink up 34%, or a good month, Chainlink up 34%. Mando, he's playing that. He rotated his ETH into Chainlink. ETH up 21%, Arbitrum 19%, Hype 14.2%, Sol 12.6%, Aave 12.4%, and Cardano up 9% as well. And speaking of Pengu, that's down 23.6% as well. So everything is moving around. Now, in other news too, stablecoin market cap continues to go vertical. It's now $277 billion. Crazy. They just keep on minting. And this is a cool little tweet as well. Shout out to Bitcoin for Freedom. I kind of enjoyed reading this because a lot of people still believe in hyper-Bitcoinization. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I do want to remind you all that one of the reasons I was fascinated by Bitcoin in the very first place in 2017 was I knew there's about 50 million millionaires in the world, but I also knew there was only ever going to be, back then, 21 million Bitcoin. And then I started studying how much was lost and how much was locked away. So really, there'll never be more than 15 million Bitcoin. But if you have only 50 million millionaires and only 15 million Bitcoin, there's going to come a time when maybe the rich people want to get their hands on Bitcoin. And this is what could happen. Okay, people will lose trust in the Fed, bonds, real estate. People have already lost trust in bonds. They've seen the catastrophic results over decades. Gold, and fiat. They'll find out what Bitcoin is and get FOMO. They'll buy the remaining Bitcoin in exchanges. Normies will also sell their coins for higher prices to them, thinking they can buy back cheaper later. And then central banks will print fiat to buy Bitcoin, which will create hyperinflation. And they will seize MicroStrategy and other large holders as a matter of national security. That's called the sovereign put, by the way. We'll talk about that too. And after USD gets hyperinflated, debt will be worthless, many businesses will go broke, and the world will clean out everything that is not profitable. And we'll start from clean sheets with Bitcoin as the new currency. These steps can last for months or up to 10 years. Don't sell your coins to them. I thought that was a nice little summary, just to remind everybody that this thing is scarce. Now, another cool little chart here. This is the value of one Bitcoin over 21 years into the future, assuming a compound annual growth rate of 29%. More exciting numbers today. I thought these are always fun to share as to how high things could go. So if you do have Bitcoin today at 115,000, call it 112, 115, 120, doesn't matter, and you invest it or you hold it and it grows at 29% compound annual growth rate, that will be worth $25 million in 21 years. The sad news, though, is due to this, $21 million may not be that much at all. Anyhow, we'll see when the time comes. And I do want to remind everybody as well, everything can go to zero. So don't expect Bitcoin to be around in 21 years. I hope it is. But nothing is certain in this life except for death and taxes. Now, let's get into the change in cycle stuff. This is from Bitcoin Monger. First of all liquidity is now on the short side, okay? It means they've liquidated everybody who was long Bitcoin, took them all out. Now the big treasure is up above. And if you look up there, the big treasure is at 120K, that green little band. That's where the market makers will go next to hunt and kill and liquidate, which is super exciting. So, according to Bitcoin Monger, there's not much downside from here. Good news. And a little bit of on-chain stuff too, which is also quite exciting, which points to a longer cycle, which is quite fun. Bitcoin has now spent 273 days with a super majority of supply held in profit above the 1 standard deviation band. This is the second largest stretch on record, behind the 2015 to 2018 cycle at 335 days. Now, a couple of things to point out here. One, we've said for years that this cycle is the same as 2017. It's not the same as last cycle. And the other thing is that 2017 cycle lasted 335 days. So it could mean we have another, call it 60 days, 70 days left. And this is a signal of how extended the current cycle has been relative to history. Again, I think 2017 when you compare this to previous cycles. And the other thing is, Bitcoin has had a far long cycle. This is from TechDev. And here he wrote some cool notes. Basically, every bear market has ended precisely as red turned to light red. We are still in green, dark green. And every ramp has lasted as long as bars were green. And every hockey stick, the banana zone, has been marked by green flipping red, not the halving. And yes, every top has been marked by a peak in red. And here, this cycle, yeah, it is different because it is certainly longer. And the green has been longer, and thus the ramp has been longer. And that's it. And the red hasn't even started. No banana zone yet. We're not overheated. So it does seem like the bears think everything's over, that they are probably very wrong. This is confluent with this, ladies and gentlemen. We are running longer. And another interesting point as well, this is from, I think it's from Donnie, but it's basically speaking more of front running. I was actually going to call this video called front running, but nobody would have understood what it meant. But this is now the August action could have been a precursor to front running the September sell-off. The scale is different. Things are happening sooner, but the outcome is the same. And that outcome is we have yet to hit the banana zone if history repeats. Again, we don't know if that's going to happen, but either way, we're watching all the charts. And finally, last piece, actually penultimate piece of Octa, is this is the MVRV pressing against 1, which means we are still flat, okay? The market is still digesting the previous rally. We are not overheated by any stretch. This is what they call a pause in the bullish structure, okay? Nothing is happening right now. Still very calm seas for Bitcoin. And the Puell multiple also says we are not overheated, also very calm seas. We only should start getting worried when we start getting into that red zone above, and we're middle of the road again, just like fear and greed. And the MVRV also less than middle of the road. No top signals are firing. So it's about 10 charts there that are kind of show you a couple of things. One, the most dangerous words in language this time is different. And two, the cycle is longer. And three, some front running may be happening. for September where things could kick off. We don't know. Either way, it is super exciting to see all of this stuff. I want to say thank you as well to Sir Winston, Bluegrass Stoic, and I'm not done, Vagabond, Brayman, and Joe Biden's Daycare. Appreciate you all. Now, crypto in Venezuela goes mainstream. This is in the Financial Times. And Maduro's cracked down on black market dollars. Imagine having to go to the black market to buy US dollars. That shows you how screwed some currencies are. The Bolivar plunges, but now they're beginning to embrace crypto. So kind of like a mini hyper-Bitcoinization could happen in Venezuela. And remember, they have a lot of oil money too. And a little bit of good news out of the UK too, which I found fascinating from Coin Bureau. 1 in 4 adults say they're very open to adding crypto to their retirement portfolios. Well, 23%. And they would even withdraw existing pensions to invest directly. So the team in the UK are hungry for Bitcoin and they would cash in their pensions to buy it. I thought that was fascinating. That means they don't have very much trust in their government. Perhaps, allegedly, not sure. I don't know. We'll dig into that later. Anyhow, let's get into some stocks. We have a lot of breaking news, and this also dovetails directly into crypto treasuries, which are red hot right now. First of all, stocks over the last 7 days. NVIDIA up 3.85%. They did just report earnings. Let's see what's happening with the NVIDIA price live. It is down about $3 or $4. So no biggie, because they did beat earnings, but they didn't smash them completely. Tesla up about 7% for the week. Google up 3% for the week. Apple flat. Microsoft flat to down. Amazon pretty much flat too. So not much happening. Again, August is always quiet and boring. Now, this is a cool little TradFi wake-up call as well. Shout out to Sanjay, who got this to me this morning. And I saw it last night as well, but I forgot to post it. I did post it this morning. But Hyperliquid recorded $330.8 billion in trading volume in July 2025. And this is surpassing Robinhood, which has not 330 million customers, but 30 million customers that are active traders. So one tiny little obscure crypto chain is now doing more than Robinhood with over 30 million customers in volume. That is completely bonkers. This, I promise you, is getting the attention of Wall Street. And they all want a piece. And I did make a forecast a while ago, one of my predictions for the next year, that centralized exchange volume would be surpassed by DEX volume. That's already happened. But now we have DEXs surpassing traditional equity centralized exchanges. Think about that. That was not on my bingo card. Pretty impressive. And everybody's now still talking about the sovereign put. So much so that people are turning them into memes, which I thought was very funny. Shout out to Michael Saylor. I hope he doesn't, he's got a good sense of humor, so he'll think it's funny. But basically, the US government invested 10% in Intel. They actually, I don't know if they even gave them money. They said give us 10%, so they did. Now that is on the table as a strategy, perhaps there'll come a time when the government may find a way to build their Bitcoin bag by, I don't know, acquiring a company like Strategy. They get them 630,000 Bitcoin on top of their 200,000, get them to 830,000. The goal is 1 million Bitcoin. That would be big. And this is called the sovereign put. But now everybody's buzzing about it. And who knows if it's going to happen? I personally don't think it could or would, but you never know. Crazier things have happened. And just to show you how fast treasuries are moving these days, this is the ETH Treasury holding chart from the block. Basically, and Milk Road posted as well, the ETH Treasuries have gone from 0 to 2.6 million ETH pretty much since late June 2025. And this was part of my video yesterday, just how fast things can happen. Okay, and ETH is a massive asset. Okay, it's a $500 billion, $500 billion asset. And they can suck in, was a 2.6 million ETH worth about $12 billion in a matter of weeks. It's completely bonkers, everybody. And this is what can happen to other chains too. Who knows which one will go next? I think we have a fair idea. But anyway, moving on, Metaplanet 2, another stock, the hottest stock in Japan. plans to get to 210,000 Bitcoin by 2027. So again, that perpetual bid for Bitcoin is going to keep coming in, and people are talking about a bear market like it's coming. If people like Michael Saylor continue to stack, and people like Metaplanet, and all the other treasuries out there, and the ETFs, let's go back to slide number 15, okay? I just want to bring us back to this one. They're sucking in just the Bitcoin treasury companies on average in 2025, 1,400 Bitcoin a day. Only 450 are minted. Once these individuals stop selling, which they've mostly stopped selling that I covered last week in an on-chain chart, that means the treasuries are sucking in more than triple the actual supply that's available, which is bonkers. This could fend off a bear market if it continues. Again, if I don't have a crystal ball, but I do have data that paints a very good picture for the future. Anyhow, 210,000 Bitcoin. I can't remember how much I have right now. I think it's about 20 or 30,000. So either way, that's a lot. For the kids at home, if somebody has to buy 150,000 Bitcoin and only 450 are minted a day, how many years does that last? Good homework question. And the answer is a long time. In fact, it lasts so long that it'll take us into the next halving, which means there won't be 450 a day, but only 225 a day. And that's when things will really kick off. So it's all ahead of us, everybody. Stay healthy. And FSD is going global fast. Shout out to our friends in Australia. Rumors. And there's so much smoke around this, it's probably going to happen. FSD is coming to Australia on the 29th of August. It's being tested all over the world. Japan, Norway, Netherlands, Paris, France, Spain. But now it would be the first country to have it with right-hand drive vehicles, because Australia is like the UK. They drive on as the Americans would say, the wrong side of the road, but the Brits would say the right side of the road. Anyway, right side, left side. Hang on, I'm getting all confused now. We drive. I don't even remember anymore. It's weird. As long as the steering wheel is on the right side of the car, I don't get confused. But I don't drive anyway anymore. The car does it all. That's the world we live in. And other crazy news too, just for those. I need a quick refresher on what's going to happen in September. September may not be Rektember, especially for Tesla, because, and this was a few weeks ago, in about 6 weeks, FSD release with the 10x higher parameter count, and that's going to be called FSD 14. And Elon believes it'll be 2 to 3 times better than a human, and the next version after that, version 15, will be 10 times better than a human. That's it, everybody. We've landed. Version 13 is already better than me, and I consider myself a good driver. Okay, so that's how wild this thing is going to become. And Wall Street is seeing it because you've seen the Tesla stock under constant accumulation. But at least we had our time to stack. I'm hoping for continued dips, but they may be fewer and further between as we go forward. Now, everybody wants to say, what happened to CRO? Well, at crypto.com, that's their token, and they shot up because this is, sometimes I kind of forecasted that the treasuries would be the downfall of the whole crypto market, but this is another example of a stupid treasury company. Trump Media will buy 105 million worth of CRO. That's about 2% of their tokens, I think, 2% of the market cap. And crypto.com will buy 50 million in Trump Media stock. It's like robbing Peter to pay Paul. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. It's kind of weird. It is very strange financial engineering behind it. Anyhow, that's what they're going to do. And they're going to call it MCGA, which is Make Crypto Great Again. Well, CRO for crypto.com. And it's complete nonsense, if you ask me. So I wouldn't touch it with a 40-foot pole. But you could see that over the last month, that before this was announced, it was also front run. How many times have I mentioned front run in this video? Maybe 4 times so far. Everything is front run. By the time retail gets wind of what's going on, it's too late. So don't chase this stuff, everybody. Replace it with something else. Very important. And I did share this earlier this morning because nobody knew what NVIDIA would do in earnings. Analysts were all over the place, up, down, left, right. They didn't know. But I do know they did have infinite demand for their machines, although the Chinese market was shut down. But NVIDIA did beat their earnings just now. This is breaking news right before I went live. They reported earnings. They beat on revenue, but only by a small amount. I think it was about $1 billion. Their earnings per share was $1.05. It was expected to have $1.01. So that's not bad, like a 4% beat. But the other breaking news is they are doing a $60 billion buyback. Remember, they have infinite demand for their machines. And remember, this is in a quarter where their H2O chip sales went to zero in China in Q2, screeching halt because of tariff and export restrictions. So with a huge market out, they still managed to beat. So when the tariff stuff is all settled and things go back to normal and maybe China starts buying H2O chips again, boom, this thing is back to the races. And even if it doesn't have China, it doesn't matter. The demand is infinite from all the other players out there, especially Elon Musk Industries. They are buying as many as they can get their hands on. So is Larry Ellison from Oracle. So is Meta. So is you name it. Anyway, finishing now on meme du jour. This is funny because everything this guy always says is just do the opposite and you'll be fine. But the Solana bulls are very excited by this one because Jim Cramer said, I can't believe some people on the internet think Solana will go to $2,000 this year. It's not going to happen. It's just not. So they are finishing that kind of fun note. Who knows if anything's going to happen? I don't know. All these videos are turned into Substacks as well and podcasts. If you want to listen to them at the gym or look at all the slides, you can do that. And I hope you enjoy the show. I just want to thank the mods once again. And hope you guys are enjoying the extreme heat and humidity out there in your part of the world. I'll see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday. Week is flying. Thanks all. Have a good night.